welcome back to another video on the channel. I'm your host Dave Cube. This video I'm going to be talking about niches and all the rest as it pertains to Nigeria. I was working on a video idea previously. A lot of Nigerian niches have a copy problem, that they are more of the same thing. Everyone is doing what everyone else is doing, but then I had a rethink about that video, and since this video is basically a derivative of that video, I'm just going to go over some of the points I think will bring more light onto this topic. The topic of the video I was previously working on was titled "Why Nigerian Content Creators Are More of the Same Thing," and the whole concept of the video was exploring why Nigerians seem very similar in their content style, their content formats, everything. Just for me, in the process of making this video, seemed like one long chain of similar parts. It was all just made up of the same thing, and I thought to myself while making this video that shouldn't there be more breakout creators in different niches? Why are only the dominant niches of vlogging, finance, tech, skit making, and even fashion and food, why are they such dominant niches? And why doesn't it seem like anyone is willing to break out or do something unconventional to upset the narrative, basically? And I came across three very, you could say they were answers to the question, but not really answers to the problem. So, of course, the first point was money, that some people are solely in it for the profit. The second point was pressure, that some people are in it because someone really just convinced them to do it, and maybe circumstances of life also made them do that. And another is attention. That some people are just in it for the clout. And I came upon these reasons, and then I was like, okay, so what really could be done? And then I also broke down the existence of other niches, and also, said that, there are other reasons to it more than just the initial three, being upfront cost of entering other unpopular niches, high global saturation, and a general lack of interest by the local audiences. These are just my points from the video I was working on before. Now, had a rethink while sitting down to see how I could make this video come to life, of why these problems really exist. Why, not necessarily a problem, but why it is that our content ecosystem is the way it is currently. And it obviously, topic that requires a lot of sitting down, thinking, and doing the necessary research to find out why things are the way they are. But then I stumbled upon a video titled "YouTube Has an Originality Problem," and that video was basically kind of addressing my point of view, but on a global scale. And basically, the point that came down to that video was that people are really just doing what works because everybody just wants to make a living of what they are doing online. That's content creation. And I thought to myself, if that is on a more global scale, where everything is much more scaled up from Nigeria, because a lot more people have a lot more disposable income, more resources, more abilities to do different things, and they still have this kind of originality problem, as the video puts it. How much more a country where everyone is really just aching to get by, struggling to get by, everyone is just striving for the next bread, just hustling to get the next paycheck so they can live a comfortable life, in a country where everyone is statistically not living a very comfortable life. That video kind of put my whole thought process on a different perspective, and it became less of people just doing this because of some few points, some abstract points, and just doing it because, number one, they are all trying to make a living off of the work that they are doing, and number two, that it all still works out in the end. So even if the creativity takes a hit in the grand scheme of things, the outcome is that a lot more people going into the more dominant niches still find success in the content that they put out. They still find success and build an audience and everything associated with that. So it wasn't necessarily a niche problem, it was more like a perspective problem, that people are just doing what works to make a living off of the work that they are doing. And honestly, at this point, I can now say that I, for one, fully understand why the Nigerian content space is the way it is. It's purely driven on the notions of making an honest living while doing something that works and that compensates you equally. Because if we take a look at the current day economy, there are very few jobs that compensate as well as getting into content creation, especially in a place like Nigeria. Because aside from the big three courses, or aside from the big three job roles, like being a doctor, being a lawyer, and being an engineer of basically any kind, there are very few job roles that anyone can actually set on and see the fruit of their result in, say, 2 to 5 years. Very few jobs. And all that still heightened on the fact that people are just, they are trying to live well, they are trying to get out of what I would say is the 9 to 5 cycle. Very understandable. But I still have the question of, why can't we be, even if it's a tad more creative with what we do? Because believe me, people are unique in their own individual ways, but then the way the content is done, the way the concepts are reused across different pages and channels, it all begins to look very similar. And I still kind of have that inquiry in me. But then I watch the video, obviously, and it's like, yes, everything works for a reason, and it's all just according to science at this point. If it works for someone, well, it will definitely translate to working for another person. And in a creator economy that doesn't really have the elbow room per se to acknowledge certain concepts, do certain risks, and also put in more efforts on an untested concept, it kind of makes sense why people flock to the more popular niches. A cycle that just folds on itself, because if it works, people will keep doing it. So does that mean that we are going to more or less put creativity in the backseat just because we are all trying to make an extra buck? I think that for a majority of content creators, the answer in the interim will be yes. And that's just because of people trying to get by, people trying to make a living, people trying to do well by themselves, by the people who put time and effort into them. It all just is that cycle. But then I think that, as that video put it, there should still be room for creativity. There should still be room for experimentation. There should still be room for testing concepts that haven't really been done before. Not because it has been proven somewhere by some team of strategists and high production team that it will work, but just because it is a creative idea that you have faith in as a creator. I think the reason sometimes I don't do certain video types is because I know that the reception to the audience that I have at this point in time may be mixed. It may not be received well, and then sometimes it's kind of it kind of shows on the kind of videos that I do as well. I like to put my hands in a few pies. But then even the big creators sometimes fall into this fray as well. They may try something new, they may try something unconventional by their own standards, and then they still get on the losing end of that experiment. So what is the solution? Well, the solution obviously is balance. You can take the predictive route, but also keep the creative slash experimental route in frame. Don't lose sight of it, because it's in the name of the occupation, content creator. Even if you're trying out proven strategies and formulas that work, there should still be room for creativity. And this is what I think a lot of people should bear in mind at the back of their minds that at the end of the day, YouTube is, yes, it's about showing yourself, showing what you're interested in, communicating with others. But then, even though it has become this train of repeated trends, it can still be something creative. It can still be something that showcases the ingenuity of the human mind, creativity as a whole. And I believe in that. I've been of recent watching certain creators that, go beyond the norm of just doing skits or finance or vlog, things like journalism, just creativeness, like art and all the rest. And I think that for what they offer and for what they do, even if they are not the most high end creators, I still think they're very impactful. I think they're very creative. I think they're also a sign that it's not all doom and gloom with the creator economy. I just think that we're in a phase of understanding what it means to do content, because a lot of us care about more than just skits and vlogs and finance tips and tech stuff. A lot of us actually care about more things than all these regular niches, because let's be frank, they are the most relevant, most dominating niches in the whole of Nigeria. If you want to make it big, you will go to those niches. But the thing is, if making it big isn't your primary focus, if money isn't your driving force, and if optimizing for growth isn't your mindset 247, I think that adding in a little splice of creative experiment can really go a long way in breaking out the kind of system. And yes, you should still stick to what works, but then the key is to find the balance between what works and what is genuinely just a work of art. That's the way I see it. And after having a rethink, I think this will be the primary video I post of why I understand why the Nigerian content creator space is so similar, so the same, so whatever the word may be. And it's not necessarily the fault of the creators, it's just everyone's dealing with the hand they've been dealt. And that's just the way of saying this is what works, this is what gets people far in the industry, this is what people should do. But then again, there's also the creative aspect, which I think more people should try and be tapped into. This doesn't mean leaving your strategies and all your stuff behind. This just means acknowledging the fact that you can do with a little bit more creativity. And I think that with that, I think we should be okay. I think we can come through. I think we can do amazing things. We've had amazing content from Nigeria in the past, and I still think we can do that today. And as always, thanks for watching. That was just my take on my previous idea of why I thought the content space was a bit stagnant. But yeah, that's about it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Leave your comments down below if you think my message was properly conveyed, if you think I was just rambling. Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Catch you all in the next one. Peace.